Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Jamie.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about music and whatever the fuck else, I guess. You know, we're just gonna have a little chat. What are we gonna be talking about today, Jamie?
All right, so today we're gonna be talking about Jakki the Motamouth's album "God vs. Satan."
Yes, apparently this is some kind of well-known underground album, I guess.
Somewhat, yeah.
Super underground. I don't know, man. I'd never heard of Jakki the Motamouth, or apparently he was part of some rap group called the Weathermen or something.
He was part of another group.
I can't remember what they were called.
It was like MYS or something like that.
Yeah.
Both groups only released like one or two albums, and then he only has two albums. So
yeah. Well, he's got this one, God vs. Satan, from like 2005, and then a more recent one called Psycho Circus. I think it's from 2013.
No, it's 2009.
2009? 2009,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, 2009, that's right. So not the most prolific artist, but, you know.
I mean, I think he's a decent artist.
He's a decent artist. All right, well, I guess we'll
might as well
get into talking about the album. See, he's called Jakki the Motamouth. It's kind of a weird, stupid name. How he spells it, like Jakki. You know, I read that. That looks like Jakki or something like that.
That's his real name, though.
That's his real name, which is kind of cool, I guess.
I mean, the Motamouth's obviously not his real last name.
The Motamouth, no, but he's called the Motamouth. But I don't know if that's exactly a super well-deserved nickname.
Definitely not the fastest rapper.
You think Motamouth.
You think quick.
Like he's spitting rhymes, but he's a much slower style of rapping, I feel like.
He's just completely like punchline based.
Pretty much. Maybe that's why he's called the Motamouth, because, you know, he's what's the word I'm looking for? He's like
quick with
mentally
quick.
Mentally quick.
Thinking of punchline. I think he has a basis in battle rap. I mean, like the last track there.
Yeah.
That's the skit has just clips of him battle rapping. So
yes, that's interesting. That's how the album ends. It's a 12-minute long song, and part of it is skit, and there's like one like rap bit in the middle.
Yeah,
so it starts off with a skit. There's a lot of skits throughout this album, and then it goes into a song with some features by some people, but we couldn't find who they were.
I'm assuming it's his rap group. So,
I'm pretty sure it's probably the rap group. And then it ends off with a bunch of audio samples, which I assume are taken from his real life rap battles, and it's mostly just him and the other guy calling each other gay, pretty much over and over again in different ways. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I guess we should probably talk about the album itself. So it's like a concept album, right?
It's a concept album. It's called God vs. Satan, and that's pretty much what the concept is.
Yeah.
So I think it's God and Satan, who are both voiced by Jakki the Motamouth.
Yeah, at least it sounds like it.
It sounds like it, yeah.
With effects laid over.
Yes, yeah. And they're fighting over Jakki's soul, I think.
Yeah, by like 6 trials.
Yes.
That
if
he does something bad, Satan gets a point. If he does something good, a point is taken away.
Yeah. I don't know if I wasn't paying close enough attention to the ending of it, but it's not really resolved at the end.
God wins.
Oh, does God win?
Yeah, and then that's why Satan wants the another trial or whatever.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, yes. So God wins, obviously.
Because he can see the future or whatever. That was like at the end.
Yeah.
Making fun of Satan for it. But
not every song on the album is related to the concept entirely.
Yeah, there's a couple that were kind of just like brag rap songs.
Pretty much. Like the opening track on it, it's like an a cappella rap where he's basically just like saying like fuck the haters. Let me see what it's called.
Underground Address.
Yeah, Underground Address, that's right.
Yeah, it was just like a spoken word, sort of bragging.
Yeah,
just like saying that he's better than most underground guys and that.
Yeah.
You know.
Underground Address, and then the next track, it's called The Wager. It's all a skit. There's like I think half of this album is made up of skits.
Yeah,
depending
or half
on
the track list.
Half the track list, depending on which track listing you look at.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of skits throughout this album. But it basically sets up the entire premise for everything that's going to happen in this in the first skit. the whole thing about God and Satan fighting over his soul and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it did a decent enough job of that.
I guess so. Yeah, it lays everything out pretty clearly. There's not. I wouldn't say there's so much of a plot, like a full narrative going throughout this album, but it certainly sets up the story and the premise very well.
I feel like the album is more of an excuse for him to make songs with different scenarios in them, like to play not different characters, but play himself in different scenarios that he can do.
Yeah.
Without being like called fake or anything, because it's a concept album where they just give him scenarios and he reacts in certain ways, right?
That's kind of what I saw. Yeah. Well, I see it. Okay. Honestly, I think the artist who this album reminded me of most was like Eminem, kind of in how he plays different characters throughout his songs. That's what Eminem does throughout Slim Shady LP, especially, and Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent. That's kind of what Jakki was going for.
I mean, but he was only playing one character. He's playing himself,
he's
right?
Playing himself. Well, he's playing himself, but he's also playing. He's also got
God, yeah,
and Satan, and there's one track. Let's see, it's the 10th track on the album called The Abduction.
Oh yeah, where he plays the aliens as well.
He plays the aliens as well.
That's probably my least favorite track on here.
Probably the least favorite track, yes. Well, because the thing is, I think a lot of the album's work, or the songs on this album work well because
it's semi-believable.
It's semi-believable, right? It's like you get a really clear sense of who Jakki is, and a lot of the songs are about him, like saying like fuck the haters, basically.
Yeah, or him just being in general like a bad guy. I think he's trying to make himself out to look like a relatively bad guy, and then he kind of turns it around in the end, right? Like
like on the last full song on the album, Left. Yeah, that's kind of what that's all about. But I think the reason The Abduction is the worst song on the album is because the premise is like he gets abducted by aliens and then they challenge him to a rap battle, which is kind of a cool premise, I guess. But then it's just him making fun of the aliens. And he's just like, you guys are, little green men and you abduct cows and shit. And it's just like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the thing that makes rap battles interesting is it's actual people rapping against each other, right? But
yeah, exactly. I don't give a shit if he's making fun of aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
There's no reason to care about that, right?
Yeah. It doesn't add anything. There's no real depth to it, I feel.
The other thing I thought with it is that some of the punchlines are kind of lame and stuff.
Oh,
and that
absolutely.
And you think
throughout the album, there's a lot of punchlines that don't hit fully, but on that song especially.
Yeah, that song's really bad. You think, considering I know it's supposed to be a rap battle, but he's obviously written it beforehand. You think he would put a little more into it, right? I don't know, he may have just been trying to go for an authentic feeling rap battle, but
it did no. And the backing track on that album's a little bit. Well, okay, on most of the album, it's pretty basic production.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's literally most of the songs. It's just a drum track, maybe a keyboard riff, or
not many samples at all.
Not many samples at all. Yeah.
There's only a couple tracks with samples.
No. It's very, very basic. Really reminds me of Wu-Tang production.
But even more basic than Wu-Tang.
Even more basic. Yeah. But I feel like that was probably the most major influence. But maybe not specifically Wu-Tang, but that style of production.
This old school boom bap.
Old school, yeah, like New York style hip hop, which is weird because this album came out in 2005.
Yeah.
But it feels a lot more like an album, I'd say, from 97. Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, he started his career in 98. I'm assuming that was starting his career as a battle rapper.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when he started working on this album. It was supposed to release in 2004, so I
think it originally got released in 2004 and then got re-released in 2005 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think his full release was 2005. But he may have been working on it a long time sort of thing to come together, but
maybe.
You never know with that sort of thing. Yeah. There's not much information about this guy online at all. No,
this is very, very underground. Yeah, Jakki the Motamouth.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, even if you go on Genius, which usually they have pretty obscure records that they talk about on that website. There's nothing for this album there even.
His Wikipedia page is one section long.
Yeah. It's extremely basic, and there's not even a Wikipedia page for this album.
Yeah, which is, I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of tells you what you need to know about how obscure it is, right?
Yeah, extremely obscure, but here we are.
Yep.
Talking about it, I guess.
I would say my favorite track was probably the positive rap.
Positive rap?
I thought it was funny, honestly.
I thought that was... Yeah, I saw it on the track list, and I was like, oh, maybe this is a song about how he's a positive rapper, making positive influences in other people's lives. But no, it's pretty much the exact opposite of that.
It's about how he's HIV positive and spreading it on purpose to other people, including his friends. It was kind of weird how he, like, resents his friends.
Yeah, right?
Like, it's just like... And then, you know, it was like a really weird idea of that, you know, he gets basically AIDS, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna go ruin all these people's lives that have done nothing wrong to me.
Yeah.
But I guess that was kind of the point, though, with, like, Satan winning that.
Yes, Satan does get a point after that track, yes. Yeah. And he has that, probably my favorite line on the album is in that song about him and his friends running a train on a girl, and then all of them getting infected with AIDS or whatever this SDT is. Yeah,
and then they can't say anything, but he knows, sort of thing. I guess he gains some kind of pleasure from knowing that they have AIDS, but they can't say anything.
I guess so, you know. Right. He's painting himself out to be kind of a
really bad guy.
Pretty bad guy throughout this album, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but then also in some points he tries to, like, redeem himself, right?
Yes.
There's a few things I didn't understand with the point system, right? Well, didn't understand, but it's like, you know. He kills his girlfriend or wife, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's just a point for Satan. It's not like he's gonna go to hell for that for sure.
Yeah, the point system is kind of arbitrary, I would say.
Yeah, because it equates things such as saying that aliens don't exist gives him a point for God, or takes away a point, so God wins that one.
Yep.
Which I didn't think really made a lot of sense, but no. But then killing his girlfriend and wife,
that only gives Satan 1 point.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Yeah, but, you know, it's arbitrary. It doesn't really matter too much, I think.
Or in the song Kleptobrainiac, I thought it would have set up a little bit when Satan goes, you know, thou shalt not steal in the skit afterwards. You'd think maybe they're going to put, like, each of the songs being one of the 10 Commandments or something. Yeah. But he didn't really work with that at all. Like, he didn't.
No, that's pretty much the only reference they have to it throughout the album, yeah.
Because the rest of them, they don't actually... Well, I mean, like, some of them are self-explanatory why it's a point for Satan and not God. Mm-hmm. But other times, it's kind of like, okay, I guess we're just giving him a point. At least, again, with the Abducted song, I think that was definitely the weakest part of this album.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the skits on this album kind of have, like, sister titles. Because you have, like, Satan the Cheater, and then later on in the album is God the Cheater. Yeah. Both skits, yeah. But a lot of the skits are, like, super short. Pretty much, like, 20 seconds each. Yeah, 20 seconds each, just about. Except for the opening one, obviously. Yeah,
and the ending one's technically all one skit, even though it's not.
Yeah, the track listing says the last song is one more scenario skit, even though there's only, like... There's a longer skit at the beginning. It's probably, like, a minute long, I think.
And then the rest of it is, like, there's some instrumental.
Yeah, there's an instrumental bit.
And then there's him, like, collaborating with his friends. I guess they're probably his rap group or something that... They have a song in there, and then it goes to just, as we said before, the battle rapping.
Yeah. But, I feel like the skits really hold this album together well, and it wouldn't be what it is without them.
Yeah, I think it's decent as a concept album. It didn't stick to it all the time, right?
No. Like, yeah, it is supposedly a concept album, but it's not, like... stuck to it. It's not like a Pink Floyd thing. Yeah.
I mean, that could be a bonus for some people, right? Because you can listen to songs out of context and they're still good.
Yeah, that's kind of what like. It's a singles album. Like, the songs don't really flow together.
Yeah,
or anything.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most popular song off there, from what I could tell, like, I mean, it's obviously not a very popular album, was Kleptobrainiac.
Yeah, Kleptobrainiac. Totally gave me, speaking of Eminem, it sounded a lot like Guilty Conscience. You know, it's basically just him, like, narrating this story about how to steal. I was like, this is totally something that Eminem does on his albums.
And I think it was semi, like, funny in the respect that he's teaching Satan how to steal, because Satan's, like, pretending he's some kid who's trying to learn how to steal.
It's kind of an odd choice of what he talks about in that song, because he's supposed to be teaching Satan how to steal, but it's basically just about shoplifting. Yeah. He's just like, watch out for the cashier, and you can return something to the store and get money back for it. And it's just
without actually having ever bought it, right?
Yeah, without having bought it. It's like, now you've stolen something legally.
And it's
kind of like, cool. That's not really like, he's painting himself as this hard-ass guy who doesn't give a shit if he kills his wife and gives a bunch of people AIDS, and yet, here's a song about him rapping about shoplifting.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like, yeah, it was definitely strange how it was just like, he goes from one song where he's killed his wife to, like you said, the positive rap and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's, stealing is just shoplifting. It's not like having a big heist or anything. I think the biggest like heist type deal was when Satan and his buddies are supposed to run into like a game store and steal a bunch of cased games.
Yeah, yeah.
And then run into a stolen car. And then at the end, he robs Satan.
Yes. Right?
He puts a gun in. He's like, one last lesson. This is a 38. Now give me your shit or something like that, right?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty clever way of ending the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very running into a game store and stealing stuff. That's the most 2005 thing I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That was back when Grand Theft Auto was like restricted, right? Like you couldn't get it in a lot of stores.
Yeah. I kept thinking of San Andreas throughout this album just because it came out in 2005.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
I mean, all in all, it's not a terrible album.
No.
I wouldn't say it's like the best ever for sure. Like,
absolutely not. No. I mean, like, after having listened to it, I can understand why this isn't like a bona fide classic. It's just super obscure.
Yeah.
Also, look at have you seen the album cover for it?
Yes, it's early 2000s.
Not great. Let's put it that way.
There's a lot. That was a definite style back in the day, though.
There was a period of rap. Yeah, that was definitely a style that they had back around the time that this album was released.
Yeah, it was just like poorly photoshopped, a guy like posturing. Did you see the original one though? Like I found a picture of the original album cover, and it's him in the same like cross-arm pose, except in the background there's like a spray painted cross and then a spray painted devil, which is, I guess, lower budget.
I guess so.
But at the same time, almost looked better to me. I don't know. I kind of like that style a little better.
Low budget doesn't mean bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, think of like a bunch of like famous album covers, literally just pictures.
Yeah.
Like, Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan. You know that album cover? It's just a blurry picture of Bob Dylan. That's it. Yeah. You don't need a lot to make a good album cover, but yeah, the one that they chose
definitely was not the best.
Definitely not the best. No, I would not say so.
What would you say was your favorite song off the album?
My favorite song? I mean, Kleptobrainiac was really funny. I'd say, hang on, I'm looking at the track list. I thought Radio Friendly was pretty good.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about that song, because the entire song is about how he's not radio friendly, how he's never gonna make a radio friendly song.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like the chorus is always like, "Don't fuck with Motamouth." After he says something like, "If you don't want to get your girl stolen, don't fuck with Motamouth."
Yeah.
That sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
That is honestly the most like single song, like the most. Like,
yeah. Right.
You could see that song getting popular and being like almost on the radio.
That was definitely the closest thing to a single off of this album.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of funny that it was about how it wouldn't ever be, like, he's not a radio friendly guy, but that's almost to me like almost a radio friendly song if they censored it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I'd say I think Relax is probably my favorite song off this album.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's got the there's a thing throughout this album that I noticed, like this sample, or not the samples, sorry, the instrumentals that he raps over. Sometimes they don't exactly line up with the music. Like,
yeah. Like,
there's one song, I think it was Broken.
That's the one about when he murdered his wife.
I think so, yeah. Anyways, but that's the one about him murdering his wife, but it's a very cheery sample that they play.
Yeah, it was weird, eh? But then he's on the phone call with his buddy.
Yeah.
And it's like suicide, or off Ready to Die, but
suicidal
thoughts, right?
Yeah, kind of like Suicidal Thoughts.
Yeah, the very last track where his buddy's trying to talk him out of doing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, he's like, "What the fuck did you do?" And Jackai's like basically like on the verge of tears.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure if he's more upset about the fact that he killed his wife or the fact that I think she cheated on him, right? And he's telling his buddy to never have a girlfriend and never get married and all this shit.
Yeah, I think that's how the song ends. He's like, never get married.
And then the cops show up and bust him.
Yeah.
And he asks the guy to take care of his kid and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lot of continuity between the songs on this album.
Yeah.
Literally just between the skits is where the only continuity is.
Yeah, I think the idea to that though is that they reset what he did sort of thing every time.
I guess so.
To make the next scenario happen, because he kills himself in the positive rap at the end because he finds out he wasn't actually HIV positive.
Yes,
and he's like, what the fuck, no, and then blows his brains out, and then they're like, okay, bring him back.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess that's the premise of it. Yeah. It's kind of like, I think it's supposed to be like God and Satan putting him through all these trials and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Kind of is the deal. Yeah.
Or another thing I thought was kind of interesting is when they song The Tunnel, right?
Yeah. And
he goes down to hell and he sees his dad preaching.
Yeah.
And his dad says, don't follow me down my path. Don't go down the same path as me. He's like, oh, it's too late. I already did, right?
Yeah.
And then he, later in that left song, he basically becomes like the preacher in hell sort of thing, right? Where he's like preaching to people about peace and like, accepting God or whatever. And then he gets to get God the point basically, right? Because he's gone back. And it's like kind of like a comparison to his father. He followed him down the same path almost like exactly where he becomes.
Yeah.
That
was an interesting song. Cause like the premise of that song is basically the rapture happens, I think.
Yeah, and he gets left.
Yeah, he gets left. So he's like, so that forces him to repent, basically.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool way of summing up his whole story, basically.
Yeah.
Like, and wrapping it all up, I guess.
And the other thing with that song was like his buddy, I think it was like his roommate got raptured away.
I thought it was his brother.
Maybe it was his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he has like other people he knows, right? And it's like as long as they don't sin, they're fine. But as soon as they sin, they like become demons or something. Like he says something about like their eyes turning black and they're like trying to kill him and stuff because he's good.
Yeah.
Which was interesting, I guess. Like
I don't know. I don't know if that's what I would envision for the rapture, but it's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it's almost like a zombie apocalypse type deal.
It's a pretty original premise, I guess.
Yeah.
For the rapture, or whatever it is. They mentioned like nuclear bombs in it as well.
Well, that was like the news lady was like there was no nuclear event to make all these millions of people disappear.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
But I think, you really think about it, it's kind of a bleak take on the rapture that only like a couple million people disappeared out of 7 billion, right?
This is like a leftover situation, like the HBO show.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that like half though?
No, it was 4%. So like
a
very small amount.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that show. Apparently it's amazing, but I haven't seen it. Anyways.
For an album called God vs. Satan, honestly not that religious.
No.
I mean, it probably wouldn't be very good if it was super religious, right? Like.
No, of course not. It's it's called God vs. Satan, but there's not really any religious themes. It's just, I think the premise of the album is just basically an excuse to like,
set up the scenarios, right?
Set up the scenarios, yeah. Show himself off a little bit, because like you said this earlier, like he's basically, by calling this album God versus Satan and making this whole premise up about how God and Satan are like fighting over his soul, that's you got to be a pretty important guy, I think, for God and Satan to be fighting over your soul.
Yeah. Well, it's like, or the funny thing is, the starting the skit is like God, like I guess like walks over to Satan or something. I don't know. Somehow they're in the same place.
Yeah.
Right. And Satan's listening to Jakki the Motamouth song.
Yeah.
He's listening to Radio Friendly, I'm pretty sure. Like, you can't really hear it. But it's like, and he's like, oh man, this is my dude and all that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's... And the weirdest thing is God had basically no stake in that game. Because he's like, all right, if I win, you just leave him alone. But Satan gets his soul if Satan wins.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I feel like he's going to get his soul either way.
Yeah.
Because of just how he's acting, right? Like...
Yeah. And yeah.
And it was like he could still go over to Satan's side without the influence of Satan. But it was like Satan would get his soul whenever he felt like it if he won.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how they explain the whole heaven/hell situation in this album, because every time he does something bad, Satan gets a point. Every time he does something good, God gets a point.
Yeah. So
it's just like, okay, so after this, like if he just does enough bad things, won't he go to hell anyways?
Yeah. And I think I don't know, it's kind of weird though. It like God was like, oh, I already knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
In what God the Cheater.
Yeah.
I think that skit is when he says it.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, oh, I already know the future, so I knew this was gonna happen. And Satan's like pissed off about it.
Yeah, God's kind of an asshole in this album.
I mean, a little bit. He's just kind of fucking with Satan the entire time. He's kind of fucking
with Satan.
Yeah.
I really like the production on the skits though. Like
voice effects.
Yeah, like the voice effects, especially on the opening skit. Like where you hear Satan listening to the...
Yeah, and then like you hear the like
It's very interesting. Like, you could tell that he's listening through headphones. I don't know how they do it, but it's just
and then when he takes the headphones off, it goes quiet, and then God puts them on, you can hear it better.
Yeah. Really cool. Really cool. Yeah. The skits definitely had the kind of strange to say, but they definitely were the best produced tracks on the album. I mean, like, it was very clear production, very easy to listen to for all of the songs, I'd say, but it's very very basic instrumental tracks on all of the songs.
Yeah.
There's nothing really mind blowing. Yeah, well, I think Left kind of has some pretty interesting.
And the tunnel as well. The tunnel has like people screaming in the background like
almost the entire
time, right?
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and the weird thing about that though is like it didn't get annoying really. Like you kind of started to tune it out.
Yeah, it's not really like part of the music, but it's
like you can hear it if you like paid attention to it, sort of thing.
Yeah. It was but the like they're catchy tunes on it. You know?
I mean, it's kind of hard to make a basic drum beat not be semi.
That's true, yeah, but there's nothing mind blowing at all. Yeah. Like, definitely not. The focus on the album certainly isn't on the music. It's more on the
lyrics for sure.
On the lyrics, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and this is definitely a product of its time though with the lyrics.
Yes, absolutely.
Like his biggest insult is always somebody's gay.
Yeah.
And that would not fly today whatsoever.
Oh God, no. Yeah, but there's a lot of homophobic slurs on this record as well. I think Satan. Is it Satan or is it the extraterrestrial?
It's the alien, yeah.
Yeah, the alien says the N-word with the hard R at one point.
And then he says like 2 more racial slurs.
Yeah.
I kind of expect him to go through all the racial slurs, but he only goes 2 more against Mexicans and Vietnamese people. So.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
All right, bud.
I guess he's an alien. He doesn't know what those words mean.
Well, no, he does. That's the thing, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's making fun of them. He's making fun of the humans for fighting amongst themselves.
Yes.
That track was almost kind of preachy about like the world's problems, right?
It was.
And he kind of tried. I think his idea was that if he made the aliens say it, it'd feel less preachy because it's like, oh, the aliens got an objective point of view.
It's kind of stupid though, yeah, because it's not exactly like a mind blowing, any like really 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 new or interesting things that he makes the aliens say. The aliens are basically just like, oh, you guys are dumb because you fight amongst yourselves, and and something about like only using 4% of your brain, I think.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you only use 3% of your brain. I've never heard that statistic in my life, that 3% of your brain.
That was kind of odd.
Because I've heard people say 20%.
20%. That makes a little bit of sense, and it's also true because you
actively use 20%.
You use 20% of your brain at a time. Like, it's not like there's 80% of your brain that does nothing at all ever.
And like the rest of your brain is doing stuff without you using it.
Yeah, exactly.
Most times, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not like, oh, only 20% of brain is on at a time.
That's stupid, yeah.
And then Jakkai's the lyric where he's like, he's like, even if I only use 2 or 3% of my brain or something, I was like, he's really going with it though, right?
He's really going with it. He really believes in that fact, I guess. This was 2005. They had the internet back then. Still,
it was like dial-up though, so like.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty. Yeah. wasn't quite what it is today, but still, there's no reason for him to not have looked that up. Who knows? Maybe this is a black skinhead deal. Feeling 300 like the Romans.
Somebody get the Trojans or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants us to realize that that's incorrect, or does he? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really have much of a public presence or anything, so there's no way to tell.
No. This guy isn't Kanye West. This is Jakki the Motamouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, would you check out any of his other work or not?
Yeah, maybe I'll listen to his one other album.
Yeah.
At some point.
I might check out his actual like group stuff. I'm not sure if
maybe I'll check out some of his rap groups.
They sounded like, I'm assuming it was their group on the last track.
It sounded like it.
And they kind of just sound like him. Like they all had a very similar flow and style.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe this is the biggest problem with the album, is that it's not really that unique. Like, the concept is unique and everything. Like, as an album, obviously, it's unique, but it doesn't sound super unique. Like, all of the instrumentals and everything are pretty derivative of one another, and he doesn't really change up his rapping style too much throughout all the different tracks.
It's not like he's going through all these, like, mind-blowing flows and stuff. And,
No. No, his style is just, like, and
it's delivering punchlines consistently, right?
It's delivering consistent
that's the idea.
Yeah, but they're not, like, like Rakim level punchlines or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, like...
They're the type of punchlines if you're like at a rap battle, you'd be like, oh damn, that's pretty good for coming up on the spot, right?
Yes, but he is not coming up with these on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it'd be kind of funny if he freestyled this whole album.
Maybe he did freestyle this whole album.
That'd be like genius level though, to like be able to.
Yeah, he came up with this whole concept and everything on the spot.
Yeah, like ran through those skits. I mean, I guess another thing to touch on though is there is quite a bit of filler in this album, right? Like.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, this album it's not super short. It's probably like an hour-ish long.
I think it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, definitely more than an hour actually.
It's like decently length.
It's a pretty long album and it does not need to be as long as it is.
Yeah, you could have cut some of the fat, like trimmed the fat for sure.
Trimmed the fat, yeah. Like the first probably like 8 or so songs, including the skits on this album, are all like really good, really consistent. It kind of falls off a little bit after that.
There's like. I think there's only one filler song, like, really, in the first 8.
Yeah. Well, like, the Abduction, that song...
It wasn't a filler, but it almost felt like it, right? Like...
Yeah, definitely did not need to be in the album. That whole bit about him getting abducted by aliens. It doesn't go anywhere either. At the end of the track, he wakes up and it was a dream or something.
It wasn't really a dream, though. That was, like, the thing, right? Is he actually got abducted and he thought it was a dream.
Yeah, that's right.
But... to me, that song, the thing that irks me the most about that song is how it just doesn't make sense that God would get the point for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know if I'm missing something with, like, the Bible where it says, like, extraterrestrials or...
I don't know. Maybe...
Like a Satan deal, but...
Maybe he just wrote that song and then he was like, oh shit, I need to make it fit into the album somehow.
Yeah. And... we keep talking about that song, but that is definitely like the most standout, worst put together, worst thought out song on the album.
Honestly, there's a reason we keep talking about that song, man. It sticks out from the rest so hard.
Because the rest is all well put together, right? Like,
it is, yeah.
There's quite a bit of effort that you can see put in, right? And he definitely spent the time on everything. But then that song was just, it was weak, and also the alien's voice was kind of hard to tell what he's saying sometimes.
It was, yeah. It was a weird voice for the alien for sure.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I felt the alien was doing better than Jakki.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of thought the alien would have won that one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a rap battle, and then the aliens are, even though, obviously it was Jakki who wrote the aliens' lines.
They were kind of better than him, right? Like,
yeah, the aliens were definitely better at rapping than Jakki. Yeah. So, they probably should have won that. You're right.
Then again, it was a little weird.
Yeah. There's definitely some filler, there's a lot of songs obviously that don't fit into the concept or like push the story forward. Actually, there's very few songs that are like directly related to the skits. Klepto-Brainiac probably being the most. It
was like Klepto-Brainiac, The Tunnel, and Left.
Yeah.
All dealt directly with religion and God and Satan sort of thing. The rest, they were kind of idle bystanders, just kind of seeing what, or not idle. They would set something up and then he would react to it, right? They weren't in it for real.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't need to be as long as it was, and of course, the last song.
Definitely did not need to be there, or at least they could have cut it up, right? Like,
I just don't understand why.
Yeah, like, I can understand, or not under. I don't want to say I can understand, but like if they had just put that bit, all that rap battle shit, put it in a separate track and just had been like,
they don't cut that track up at all.
Yeah,
it's all one long thing.
Yeah, to sit there for 11 minutes with first a skit and then like it was like a sample of a church hymn or something.
Yeah, then a church hymn or something.
But it was like it had effects laid over it, right? But that played for like a good 2 minutes straight with nothing else.
Yeah.
And then him and his buddies rapping, and then it goes to his rap battle stuff with no more skits, right? And the thing I found weird is that Satan asked for another scenario. God says sure. But then they don't go anywhere with it.
They don't do anything with it, yeah.
It's just like, okay, like...
It doesn't really get...
I guess it's implied God would win, though, because he already knows the future, so he knows he's going to win. That's why he accepts it.
I guess so. But they spent... Like the first skit on this album, they go into extreme detail about the whole premise. Yeah. And they don't do that again at the end.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be kind of useless to do a recap for them. But at the same time, if you're going to put in an 11-minute track, why not just have the recap in there, like...
Yeah, right? And it's labeled as a skit as well, so I was like, oh, wow. They're really going full concept mode at the end of this.
But they really didn't.
They really did not, no.
I think he definitely should have cut it into at least multiple tracks.
Yeah.
And, like, if even... Should have just cut the rap battle stuff, for sure.
There's no reason for it to be in there, and it's not even impressive rapping, like...
Well, it's decent punchlines, but they're all similar insults, so it's kind of like nowadays it's kind of, it's not, I don't want to use the word cringy, but kind of like cringy feeling.
Definitely, yeah.
To just hear the old shit and
it's just him and the other guy calling each other gay over and over again.
And it's kind of a worn out insult.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much to it at all.
Yeah. I mean, they said it in creative ways, which was, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Also, there's a lot of masturbation references.
There's a lot of masturbation references in this album. Yes, yeah. Good thing you brought that up.
It was weird. It's like he's like something about like insomniac dick. If you stay up, I'll beat you.
Right. Yeah,
things like that.
That was probably the most creative one. The rest of them were kind of unnecessary.
Like the aliens. The aliens like, oh, we picked you, we abducted you while you were jerking off, right?
It's like, okay.
And it was like, but why is this necessary? I mean, I guess it was supposed to be humorous in some way, but
yeah, man. I don't mind a good masturbation joke now and again, but. He just keeps coming up on this album.
There's like an odd fixation on jerking it.
Yeah, literally. Aside from the other amazing, fantastic line, I got insomniac dick, I'll beat you if you
stay up or something like that. Stay up,
yeah.
I mean, that was a good line. That was
an excellent line.
That was in, what song was that? That wasn't...
I think it was after Kleptobrainiac.
Yeah, that was the one where
was that Stage Fright?
Yeah, it was Stage Fright.
It was Stage Fright, yeah.
That was another... That like sounded like it should have been part of the concept because it had like a ongoing people yelling at each other in the background.
Yeah.
But then
it wasn't really part of the concept.
Yeah, they didn't. You could tell the songs that weren't part of the competition or whatever because they'd be back to back with a song that was.
Yes.
They'd play because if the song was part of the concept normally, it would be like skit, song, skit, and then you'd notice like skit, song, skit. The second song usually had nothing to do with the album as a whole.
Yeah. It's like a lot of them.
I kind of wish he had put all the songs that didn't at the very end after.
I think that would be reasonable.
Russia's 2112, right? Mm-hmm. They have the big 20-minute song, and they have like 3 other songs on that album that are like semi-related, but they're not. They don't tell the story the same, right? Like they're not like a rock opera.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of albums that do that, where they just put like extra songs at the end after the thing is done.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like it's.
No, I think that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, it's better to put them at the end than to be like, okay, take a break from the concept, you know?
But certainly this album feels like, it was more like, he was like, oh, I have all of these songs, let's just fill some of them in on this record.
Yeah. Maybe it was like, he couldn't afford, but he's like, he's a smaller rapper, he's got his first record deal, right? Yeah. And he wants to put all his best work out. Yeah. Sort of thing, right?
Which is fair, I guess.
And I guess maybe making up for some of the weaker tracks.
Yeah.
Not gonna...
But all of the songs that are concept related are the best ones.
Yeah, I mean...
Like the weaker songs are usually the ones that aren't part of the concept.
Yeah, except for Abducted again.
Except for Abducted. That's not really part of the concept. Like, again, that could have easily been cut.
Yeah, should have been cut. I bet they could have worked Stage Fright in instead of Abducted.
Yeah.
As part of the competition. Because of how loosely Abducted was put in.
Yeah.
You might as well have been that lazy with a better song.
Yeah. But, overall, I'm glad we listened to this album. Yeah. I certainly don't regret having listened to it, but it's not...
It wasn't, like, mind-blowing or anything.
Not mind-blowing at all.
I enjoy this album personally. Like, I listen to it every once in a while. It's not like a go-to for me.
No. Well, yeah, like I was saying, like, he doesn't do any specific thing great. Like, he doesn't, like, spit rhymes, like...
Super fast.
Yeah, like, super fast or anything, even though his name's the Motamouth.
Doesn't have like a super unique flow.
No, not super creative rhymes or anything.
I do gotta say that one time when he the beat, he has too many words to fit in the bar, and he like really slick puts the word into the next bar.
Yeah.
That was on Broken. Yeah. And he like slipped it over, and a lot of times when rappers try and do that, it doesn't sound too good.
He's really good at that, though. Yeah, that's true.
Like, not as good as MF Doom, but definitely pretty good. He's better than a lot of guys.
He's better than a lot of guys at doing that, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't always work out well, though.
Yeah.
Like, especially on the track Left, he tries to do that a lot, and I'm just, like, so distracted by, like, how he, like, fits one rhyme into, like, one bar, and then he goes, like, 2 bars without a rhyme, and it's, like, kind of odd.
Yeah.
Doesn't really...
He was playing with the structure a lot, and it didn't work as well.
He's trying to play too much with the structure, I think, on a lot of the tracks.
And usually in rap, when you're playing with the structure, you want to add more and more rhymes, like, internally and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to break up...
Yeah, he doesn't really do that, though.
Yeah, like, especially with this type of rap. Usually you'd want to, keep a constant... Because, like, boom bap isn't the most complex style of rap normally.
No. But that's, like, it's kind of characterized by, like, hard-hitting rhymes and like really simple instrumentals to like emphasize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me a lot of like Only Built for Cuban Links, like with the instrumentals and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the closest thing this album sounded like, at least from what I've heard. But
yeah,
yeah, definitely not as hard hitting.
Yeah.
As that one, not at all.
Yeah.
As much as Jakki the Motamouth might think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if that's just a character that's that egotistical, if he really believes he's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, like, a lot of rappers say they're the best, but I doubt
that's
they
kinda,
really...
That's kind of part of the rap.
Yeah, game sort of thing, right? Like, you gotta say you're the best to be the best eventually. But,
yes, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess we should probably give it a rating or something, right, at the end here?
I guess so, yeah. Well, you've
I
listened to this album certainly more than me, so...
Yeah. I think so. I would recommend people to listen to it for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't say about his other work. I haven't checked it out.
This certainly isn't like a must listen.
Yeah, I think if you're into more underground stuff, you're into like punchline rap, battle rappers, that sort of thing, it definitely fit. If you just want to hear concept albums, also kind of works, right? Cause
yeah.
I think it's an easy concept album to get into.
It's an easy concept album to get into. It's an interesting listen, you know.
I think if I was to score it, I'd get like out of 10, let's say, probably like a 7.5 or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely better than average.
Yes, yeah. If I could give it I'd give it a 7, maybe a 7.3. It's definitely better than average, yeah. I've heard a lot worse albums, but I've also heard many better albums than this one. Yeah. But
not a bad score.
Not a bad score at all. Not a bad album at all. Not a great album. Just pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was God versus Satan by Jakki the Motamouth.